Hello everybody. I'm going to wait a little bit until people pop into the room. This is a live broadcast on Facebook that will be put later on to YouTube. So if you're hearing me say hello to people, that's what I'm doing as they enter the room. I'm usually live on Tuesday nights from 7:30 to whenever we're done with the project. So now some people are coming in. Hello Terry. Oh, we got a few more people popping in. Give it about 30 seconds and then we'll start. Hello, hello, hello everybody. I'm just going to give it another few seconds here before I start. Well, this might take us a while to do. There's a lot of cutting to do on this particular one. And once we get a few more people in, I'll explain what I'm doing. Hello? All right. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're doing a little short version of the giraffe. Now here's my long version of the giraffe. I can't really put him, hello Mark, I can't really put him upright, but he's got definitely a long neck. This one's a real shorty, kind of a comical looking thing. And we're going to start doing Noah's Ark. Every week hopefully I'll have a new little project to do. And my plan is to do these from the sizes that I already sell. The 3.5, 2.5, and a 2 1/4 that I have for the nativity set. I'll use those three. Hello, Warren. I'll use those three of the blocks to make the complete set. I'm not sure how long, how many of these I'm going to make. This is going to take a while to do because there's a lot of cutting. Because we have to cut really far into the head and all that. So I'll see how far I can get in about an hour from now. And if we need to resume it, I'll do it on Thursday of this week to complete it. So let's get started with it. The first thing you're going to do is there is these little things, horny things on the top. And we're going to, hello Jack and Jenny, hello Jim. These two need to be cut out from the top of the head. I'm going to show you later on how to, I have an idea for the ark, and I won't bring that up until later, but this will be the first of two that you'll have to make if you're doing Noah's Ark. So I'm kind of lucky. I could do one before class. I do the class, I'll have another one ready to go. So the first thing you want to do is, these are a lot like my sitting series that I've done before where they're sitting with their little feet. So this is 3.5 inches by 1.5 by 1.5. And I actually moved my little studio right next to the router, so I'm not so far away, and hopefully we'll have a good connection today. So the first thing we're going to do is try to figure out how far from here to here. Now up here, we're not going to go all the way to the top because we have to put these two little horn things in there. The ears are going to come a little bit lower than the corner, not by much, but a little bit. And we're going to, if you can trace this onto your piece, I'll just hold it here. You're going to come up and around maybe, 1/8 of an inch or a little bit more, 3/8 of an inch from the top. And then you're going to come down, not a little more than halfway down the center. All right, so, and then what I did here too is I drew a line across to put his feet at the bottom. Okay, but the most important and the hardest part is doing this. So we're going to get started with it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start chopping. I know I'm going to start at the top here. We're just going to start pulling some of this out just to give us an idea where to go here. We're going to round this off, but I can't round it off without knowing exactly. Now, the other thing you may want to do is on the top, you may want to put 2 little circles. You do not want to take those off, okay? That's where your little horns are going to go. I guess that's what they're called. I don't know what they're called. So, hello everybody. So, that's the first thing. So, the one thing I do a lot is I use my little V-tools, and I use them an awful lot. So, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go right next to the ear, and I'm going to just chop a little bit out there, okay? And I'm going to follow that around. We're going to bring it right down to the head. Alright? Same thing over here. We're going to chop this out. And if you want to do a little bit on the outside, you can always shape that ear a little bit later on. Again, that's fine too. We're going to cut a lot of this out anyway. And then I'm going to do the face itself. The head, and this comes in a little bit. That's a little bit of a dip in there, and then we're going to come down and around just to there. Okay, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to start chopping the ear out a little bit. Alright, this is the guy we're working on. This will take a while. Now, like I said in the beginning, if I end up doing an hour or a little bit more, I'll stop and do the rest on Thursday. Alright. Hopefully I won't lose the feed from the internet. So I'm going to do the bottom part of his face right here, his nose. And we're going to do a bunch of animals. We'll do probably around 10 different animals. So you're going to have to make 2 of each. Alright, so here I'm going to, when you cut into the side of the face, you want to go right, thank you, right next to it, okay? And same thing on this side. You're going to follow this around. And you're going to cut this out. And you're actually going to cut part of the ear off too. So you can leave that there. You can go right around the ear as well. Start taking some of that off because you're going to have to. You can see why this is going to take a while. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay. Again, I'm going to go in a little deeper. And I'm going to do it again here on the side. And follow that out again. I'll try to catch any of the, I may as well cut some of this off at the top too. So this, because I switched this over a little bit, it's not the easiest to get into with the camera. I'm sitting in a different chair and it's not the easiest for me to, I'm just trying to get the outline out. Okay. And we can just do the same thing over here to this corner as well. Well, hello, Karen. Alright. This really does take a lot of effort to get this out. Alright. The other thing we're going to do right here, we're going to start chopping this away right here. I'm going to go right next to the ear, and I'm going to start going down and start chopping, because we have to take all this out. If we're going to look at this, this is going to look somewhat like so, okay, on both sides. So all this has to be chopped out. Actually, from the ear all the way over. So, hang on just a second. His face is going to be a little thinner than that guy. I wish I would have made it a little fatter, but that's just the way it is. Anyway. Okay, we're getting close to where those are going to be. Next thing I do is I start chopping a little bit off the back. Just like so. Alright. This will get your hand used to pushing this stuff back and forth. Sometimes the Murphy knife comes in real handy for that, because the blade's a little thinner and you can sweep that out a little bit better. Now here's where the ear is, so let's just bring that straight across, and that's going to all come out a little further, but for now we just need to be able to get this down a little bit. Alright, see, we're starting to shape it up. And then over here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go right next to the ear here, and we're going to go straight down. Now, Noah's Ark, I did Noah's Ark before. If you go to my videos and look up Noah's Ark, you'll find this one with a couple of the other, hello Justin, hello, and I think I have 3 different ones. Which ones do I have? I'm having a senior moment. Oh, I have an elephant, this, and I think I have a little lion with it. So we'll be doing a couple little birds. We're going to be doing a couple of different things. I'm going to have a total of possibly 20 pieces by the time you're done. So we're going to do something every week, hopefully every week or every other week. Once it starts getting warmer, I'm going to be working outside more. It was a beautiful day today. I was able to carve outside today. I'll show you what we'll be doing next week. And this does take some strength in your hands to do, okay? So there's where we're at right now. And I'm going to spray this a little bit so it's a little easier. Like I said earlier, if I don't finish this tonight, I will definitely finish it on Thursday night. I'll be back at the same time. So I'm not going to rush this at all like I normally do, because I want to make sure I get it done right. And you notice I push with my hand, with my thumb all the time. That works really well. And we're going to sweep out the back a little bit, just to get that out. Okay. Slowly it's coming. Alright, so now I can go ahead and start trimming off the head a little bit. This is really the tough part. In between here, now what you want to do is you want to kind of mark where these two things are going to be. Alright? And it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where they're going to be, but as long as you have an opening, alright, just like so. So what I like to do is use my V-tool. And I'm just going to take my V-tool and I'm going to go right up through the center. Well, where's the V-tool? Here it is. Take my V-tool and just go. Now I'm not going to go crazy and real deep, but I'm just going to go ahead and dig some of this out with a V-tool. V-tools are so versatile. Now I'll take my second little gouge, if I can find it here. There we go. And just kind of bring this out a little bit. You should be able to get one of these in between. So I'm not going to worry about those two lines there. So let's see if we can just get that in between there. All right. All right. The hard part is going to be right in here. And so you're going to just go start chopping out a little bit at a time. And this is going to come back a little ways anyway. All right. We've got plenty of room to work here. And so I'm going to go straight across from the ear, and I'm going to start chopping in. Now, you got to be really careful when you do this, because if you don't, you can clip something out that you don't want to clip out. This is why I said this might take a while, because it is really tough to get in there. So right here, I'm going to start scooping this out right behind the ear here. Same thing over here. I'm going to just scoop this out a little bit. Because what I try to eliminate as much as I can before I really have to dig in between. All right. And this is what okay. There we go. Let me take a look at this back here so I know what I'm doing here. So the next thing I'm trying to do is separate the ear from this little knobby thing at the top. Somebody gave me the proper word for it, but I can't even pronounce it. So let's see here. I'm just going to keep going here, and we're going to just keep chopping this out. And we're going to take that right around to the back here. Okay, now, the next thing you want to do is you want to take this ear, and you're going to kind of bring this around just like so. All right, we're going to do both sides. So let's chop this off a little bit more. And if it doesn't, I'm just going to say this. If you're having a real hard time getting this stuff out, just take your time. There's no hurry for it. And there's no right or wrong way of cutting this out. You do whatever is easiest. If you need to wet it a few times with the water and mixture to make it easier, by all means do so. It will pan out all right. Let's see. Now I'm going to take the ears back a little bit further, but I'm going to draw this line in the back, and I'll give you a neat way we can display this thing once we get somewhat done. I'll show you I don't have it built yet. I've been pondering this for a few weeks, how I was going to do this, and I think I finally found a way I can do it. So let me take the V-tool, and I'm just going to cut right up and over. We're going to come down this way. There you go. All right. That's good. All right. That gives us... The V-tool is so incredibly handy. And if it's sharp, you should be able to really cut in any direction. me take a look at something here. I need to go up a little more. There we go. Let me take a look and see. You're always checking to see if things are the same size. Now, I kind of created him out of my head, out of the other one. And I know he doesn't have a long neck. I'm trying to do it from the blocks that were used. This is a 3.5-inch block. And the reason I'm doing that, now I'm going to come here and I'm going to go straight around each of the ears here to bring this down a little further. Alright. I made this now a little bit too small, but it will work just fine. In fact, I might just cut this up a little further. There we go. Shorten that a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to bring this back a little bit more. Just like so. Alright. The V-tool that I have is a 3.5, and I just want to share something real quick. I put a notice on my thing about my tools. The guy that was selling me these with this particular handle, it's very hard to get these. So I'm actually, it's not a brand name to these. This is a very handy tool, but the new ones that I have now that I can get, they come as dull as a doornail when they come. So I sharpen each and every one of them before they go out. So this is the new handle. It's almost like the dockyard size. It's very small, but it's a little bigger than the dockyard. But the blades are the same length as the others, and the steel is just as good, if not a little bit better. Well, I think it's exactly the same. They hold up really well. And I've been using one of these on my own. Here's one of mine that I actually marked as my own, and it really works really well. So right now, if you're buying the 4 set for the 55, it is going to be with this handle. The only difference is the handle. It's really not the blade or the length of the blade, and the handle's exactly the same by maybe 1/8 of an inch difference in length. So they're fine. I've been using these for a while, but I've been trying to get the same ones, but they're just so hard to get. And the guy is going to send me some more of these, hopefully on Friday, but I'm going to just keep these up for now. Now, if you buy the V-tool by itself, you will probably get the ones that are separated. This one here, with this particular handle. This one will be sold with the set. I don't think I'm going to tear those apart right away. Alright, so either one, don't be surprised if you get a different handle on it than what you see. But those are the only 2 handles that they come in for right now. So, it's hard to, people they like a certain thing for a while and then you can't get it. And it seems to be like that all the time. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So let's keep rounding around the head here a little bit. And like I say, I sharpen all those. I've not heard too many complaints about them not being sharp. In fact, I don't hear any complaints if they're not sharp. Let me take it's still hot chocolate weather. And so, and if I change the handles, you'll see it posted. Whatever you see when you buy it is what the ones you'll probably get, okay? If you buy them online. Alright, let's see here. Now, this is the hard part. Let's keep going here a little bit, and let's just start going up to it. That looks good. And we're just going to start working our way towards it. Same thing over here. We're going to kind of work our way around. Now I'm going to remark this a little bit. Okay, I kind of chopped a little bit off of there, but that's okay. We're going to bring that over this way because we're going to round it off anyway. And I'm telling you, if it's sharp, you'll be able to do it in any direction. Just like I'm doing on the end here. This is just helping me know where I can go and where. I'm just following that out. Oh, thank you. I'll keep trying to get those Murphy knives. They're hard to get as well. Like I said, everything changes. Nothing ever stays the same. You'll see me fuss with this for a while, so just bear with me for a minute. Because like I said, if I don't finish it tonight, I'll certainly be doing it a little bit later. Here, there we go. It takes some doing, but there we go. Now we got to go all the way through the back here, so let's just kind of bring that up. I'm glad you're happy with the tools. I won't sell anything that I don't personally use. The other thing that I started to sell were the skews, the skew and the chisel. Some people really like using them. I have those here, and they're sold separately. They're not sold in the set. So, but I was talking to someone. You know, when you finally are carving for a long period of time, you're going to find you're only going to use a couple of tools for the most part. You know, I use these gouges from time to time. You know, it's not all the time, but, you know, I do use them when I need to do the inside of the ear and stuff like that. Okay. Now I'm going to try to go in between there. You can see why this is so incredibly tough to do. True, Karen. I was handling dockyards, and I'll tell you what happened with the dockyards. They're a wonderful tool, and they are still superior to anything that we have here, but because of the size that you can get. But the problem with that, the last load I got in, the last shipment, this one here, you can choke right up to the blade. The dockyards were out to here. It's very hard to control it. Your thumb has to be really extended further. And, you know, this might not reach everywhere you want to go, but it's so easy to control it compared to having something that's really long. And that's why I went to these instead, because they made more sense to me than the other. So, but, you know, everybody has their own favorite way of doing things and tools. You know, some people like certain knives that I wouldn't even touch at this point, you know, because the bevels are either too thick or, and hopefully I'll be able to get those Murphy knives yet. Alright, so there we go. Let me take this back here for a second. Something's not right here with this head. Hang on, I'll be right back. I gotta blend that in a little bit more. There we go. Alright, there we go. So there we have our two little knobbies at the top. And those will come through a little bit more. I'm going to bring this back a little bit more. There we go. All right, now I'm going to bring the ears back a little further. And we're going to start trimming this out a little bit with its face and start blending it together. Well, I don't think I've lost the feed so far since I've been on, so I guess being closer to the router, somebody was kind enough to tell me how to fix it, but it's like I had to buy some things, and I thought, well, I'll just move it closer to the router. It made more sense to me than trying to add some more tech here. I may try that later. I'm going to trim all this rough stuff off now. There we go. Now I'm going to bring this down a little further. I'm going to just cut this straight across, and we're going to just bring it down. See how much further down that is? So we're just going to cut that out a little bit more. Let's get the Murphy knife. That's usually a nice one. There we go. I'm going to bring this right down to there. And I'm going to round that ear off a little bit. Alright, I think we're still too far over, so let's see if we can dig this out a little further. Right underneath the ear there, where those two things meet. There we go. We're doing this little guy if you just popped in. I know he doesn't have a long neck, but his colors give it away what he is. And the two little knobby things on the top. And yeah, and I'll be fussing with this more when I get offline later on. But let's see. If we might finish this tonight. I think I'll just keep going. So. Yeah, it was beautiful outside. I was actually carving out on the deck. It was near 60-some degrees today, but I hear it's not going to stay like that. So, let's see. Now, see the side here? We're going to go a little deeper. And let me take a look at that ear here for a second. Okay, we're going to just take a little more off of the ear on either side. Just a tiny bit, okay? We're just going to chop this out. Yeah, and next week I'll share with you at the end what we're doing next week. We're going to jump all over the place here, okay? And, you know, I try to compress everything into a 3-inch block. A lot of people are enjoying being able to make things out of the blocks, so that's been real handy. Well, if I stop moving the tripod around, okay, hang on just a second. So, and let's see. Okay, yep, got it. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper right here. And I'm going to do like a nice big V cut right underneath. That will make that pop out a lot more. So, and I'm doing it with my knife, okay? See how that just makes it stick out much better than just leaving it like so. So we're going to do both sides that way. Right under the ear. And we're going to pop that out. Just a nice deep V cut. Okay. His snout looks a little crooked. Hang on just a second. Let me see if I can straighten his nose out here. Close enough for now. All right. So, here we're going to sweep this in a little bit. Just bring it in a little bit. Like a little curvature right there. Alright, like that. I would have made his head a little bit bigger. Something looks off, and I'm not sure what it is. Here it is. Yeah. Either way, it's still going to look like it's still going to look like a giraffe. All right. So now we've got that pretty well done. Now we're going to go underneath the ear a little bit more. We're just going to start chopping out a little bit more there. Okay? Because we really have to take all this out. But you can do this, folks. You know, what I do a lot of times is I really will flip all over the place like you see me doing now. I'll flip from one side to the other, or you know, mess with the head or do the ears a little bit different. It's just the way. Hello, Linda. Okay, so let's see if we can start adding a few things to shape his body up, because that will help me finishing him up a little bit more. So here's where his big foot's going to be. Okay, so this is going to just come out, and it's going to have a little V in here. Okay, we'll do that later. And then there's going to be a round one over here as well. All right, I kind of pre-did that. Well, let's see. Okay. Like I said, it's always tough to get both sides to work. And don't feel bad if you are not able to do that right away. Okay. Let's bring this down a little bit more. All right. And then I draw a line across a little bit lower than the big feet in the back. This will be his two hoofs in the front. All right. First thing I do is I take the V-tool and I follow the foot out. I usually go from the top, all right, on the outside of it, just to make it, so if you have to adjust it, you can. And then this just gives us a nice place where to start here. All right. We'll worry about that V in the top of the foot a little bit later. Won't worry about it now. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little V cut, just like so. Okay, this is going to be his legs here. Very short legs, but hello, Peter. Nice that you dropped in. It's my nephew. We're doing the giraffe that I just created. Alright, so we're going to bring this down just a little bit. We're going to just do a little bit of an arch here. Alright. Again, I'm going to use the V-tool, and I'm going to go straight to there. And the same thing over here. This is the sitting series that I've done in the past. I did a lot of things sitting. If you go through some of my videos online, you'll see those. But this works out really well. Okay, so I'm going to chop this off a little bit here. And we're going to just kind of bring this in a little bit on both sides. This comes in a little bit. Alright. And we're just going to chop this out a little bit on each side. Okay, now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to go all the way around. And I'm going to make a little, like a little hip right here. Okay? How you do that is just take your knife straight down and you're going to just pop that out. Just do a nice little dig. There's his little hip. Okay? See it already? Doesn't take much to make something pop out. Alright, there you go. Now, the next thing If you're losing the feed, I like to know that. You can text me that in a message. If it's choppy, I haven't not lost the feed on this end that I know of, like I did the last couple of times, because I moved it closer to the router, so I think that's helped it a great deal. Okay, we just might finish him tonight. At least he doesn't need any fur or anything like that on him. Alright, so now we have the feet. Let me go back here and recut this, because we're going to cut this out a little bit more. And that's okay if you go into the other foot. And then we're going to chop sideways. Okay, so this comes out like so on the back side. That's going to be his foot. Same thing over here. We're going to come where we chopped it out in that corner, and we're just going to bring it down. And you can use your V-tool again if you like, and just follow that out. Well, we're doing okay time-wise. I think I'll keep on going. I hate to stop once I start one of these. Okay, I'm going to cut the top of this foot out as well, and we're going to just chop it in. Alright, there we go. Oh, hang on. Here. No, I have not done that. I just kind of freehand all my stuff. But that is a very good point. If you want to put a pattern out, you can. Might be a smarter way of doing it. But I kind of eyeball it and say, okay, this is good and that's good enough, you know. Alright, now in the back here, okay, thank you for letting me know, folks. I upped the speed on the internet, and I did a couple other things to it. I'm going to just round this off here at the bottom, where his tail's going to be. And then we're just going to take this, and the tail's going to go from that side over, and this side is just going to curl up, like so. And we're just going to put a little, okay, just like so. Alright, now, hefty little V-tool again. So I'm going to follow this out. Whoops. It helps if I put the V-tool in the right direction here. And you'll notice I'll turn my carving a lot of times if I'm using the V-tool and doing some really sharp turns instead of turning my hand. Okay. It just seems better that way. And like this here, I'll just, and then this one I'll just do by hand here. Well, when I did videos in the past on the DVDs, I did it with a different camera and much better quality. I understand that the quality is not the best, but this is the only way I know how to do it and do it live. Alright, that's the back part. And here's the other side. Okay, good. Now let me think this over for a second. What do we need yet? We need his little feet separated and a little Y at the top here. What we're going to do right now is this portion right here. Alright, and this separating the feet. And then he has little hips and stuff that we will do a little bit later. But let me think this out. Let me just take all this rough stuff off first and just kind of, well, I still need to really bring this down a lot more, and I will do that a little bit right now just to help it along. I'm going to spray it a little bit. What I use for a spray is water and rubbing alcohol. It works really well for that. Hello, Ruthie. I always said big eyes, big nose, big ears. Always has a cute factor to it. Alright, so... No, geez, I have a lot. Wait, I have a lot more to go through here. But you can see I'm starting to get it shaped up. It takes a while. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to bring this down a little bit more. I'm going to take this rough stuff off of here. I'll worry about that a little bit later. Let me see if I can get this down here the way I want it. Now the feet are really, really short. The legs are really short. Of course, none of this, I'm going to be very honest with you, doing this will no way be in any kind of, when we're doing this thing, the birds are going to look too big, or it's going to be similar to the nativity set where it was all the same size. You know, it's not going to, they're going to be 3 different sizes, but they're not going to be accurate by any means. They're going to be caricatures, so just like the other. So we're going to take the V tool up the center of the 2 feet first. Alright, so, because I was thinking of making a real long neck on him, and I thought, no, I'll use what people are already, you know, buying and having on hand. People seem to really enjoy the smaller stuff right now, and I really enjoy doing just this size. I don't like doing anything really super big. Yeah, what I'm planning on doing, Christine, is once I figure out how many animals I'll have and how many things I'll have, I'll put a whole packet together just for the, if you wanted to do the 20 pieces of, for the Noah's Ark. So, yeah, I haven't gotten around to that yet. This is in the preliminary stages right now, and I will do that for sure. Okay, I'm going to go on either side. I want this to pop out a little bit more. So we're just going to have this come up. This is going to be tucked in a little bit. Round it off a little bit more. And we're going to have that really I don't know about a drawing of each piece. I don't usually do that because you just follow the video. But I'll think on that for sure. I have a Noah's Ark already made earlier when I was doing my videos. If you're interested in that, I do have a video on that. And okay, so there's this feet. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to bring this down. Where's the other knife? It has a little better reach. Okay. And I keep chopping away at that because that has to all come out. Well, we've been at this about 45 minutes, so it's not too bad. Alright, so what do we have next here? Let me take a look. Alright, so we have that done. I'm going to make that a little wider. So his feet, his little legs are coming right out from here, just like so. All right, from the edge here. So we're just gonna pop those in there. And again, we're using the V tool for that. All right, that separates everything. So right here, where this and that meet, where the big foot and the little foot comes together, you're going to just kind of pop that out a little bit. So this sticks out a little in the front. Yeah, I did stop. I saw that time. So then the same thing over here. You're going to just take this portion, the back portion, right here, and you're just going to pop that out a little bit. There we go. So the feet look like they're sticking out a little further. All right, there we go. Again, I'm going to bring this down, and we're going to chop this out a little further as well. Let's start rounding this up a little bit. All right, yes. All right, now let me take a look at what else I did here. All right, and I have a little hip right in the back here, so what that consists of is two little lines in the back here. This is his little hip, and I don't do a big long one there, but what we want to do here is we want to take that side out so that tail is sticking out a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to round that up, and let's see if we can get that out of there. That's good. All right, and we just want to flatten it out a little bit. Have that kind of sticking out a little bit. I'll fuss with that more, but you get the idea. Now, we've got to round this off a little bit. And he has a little bit of a, with his head here, his little mane in the back, we go down a little bit. And he has a little bit of an arch right in here. So we're just going to scoop this out a little bit, just like so. There we go. All right, that's what I wanted. And of course, this is going to come down a lot more. Yep. And notice I keep going back to it and do a few more swipes. That's what you do. You just keep working at it and you'll get it done. Okay, see how much further that side is than this side? So we're going to have to turn this around. And I'm going to just chop that up by the ear there. There we go. And this gets scooped out a little bit more too, because this is a little thinner in the back portion of this. So he keeps falling over. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. And yeah, I wasn't sure how he was going to turn out when I started with him. I kind of had the idea in my head. And okay, let's see how it goes. Hello, Rhonda. So, okay. There's a lot more back here that's got to come out because let me see what else I have to do here. Okay. All right. Now, what I do with these little knobby things, I actually start, I make it where you cut going in, so it looks like a little knob instead of just sticking out straight. And I'll do that with these eventually. I'll go all the way around and chop that off and round them off a little bit. That's self-explanatory. But let me see what I can do with this ear now. Let me take a look at that. Let me see if I can just chop some of this out for a second. And there we go. All right. So the next thing you want to do right here for the ears, I know that should go. That needs to go here. Okay, once you get those ears shaped the way you want, I'm going to show you how to take those, how to redo the ears a little bit. All right, so that's pretty well. Let me take a look here. Oh, yes. Let's shorten this up just a tiny bit. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to see, you know, you can chop more off of the back if you want to. It's up to you. But what I end up doing is I take my knife, whichever knife I decide to use, and I dig it into the head. Notice I have it going inside the head. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. So it looks like it's deeper. That's what you want. So I'm going to go right like so. Now I'm not going to go all the way across the ear, but I'm just going to do a portion like this, and then I take one of my gouges. I usually take the center one. And I'm going to wet it because it helps it. Now wetting it doesn't help if your knives are dull. So what I want to do is take this and I'm going to start chopping. Okay. Now this is really difficult because I'm going against the grain. I'm going across it instead of with it. So I'm going to just take my time. And if I have to, I'll use the smaller one. I have a tinier one here that I can use to get down in that little crevice down here. And I can dig it out a little bit with that. Okay. Now, one thing you don't want to do with these gouges is you don't want to scrape with it if you can help it. And how do you keep them sharp? Well, I use that wheel that I have, and that works really well to keep them sharp. All right, so now I'm going to go around a little bit and kind of follow that just like so. And I'm going to go up here to the top and leave a little bit of an area there. And you have to be mindful how deep you're going because the backside, if you cut up too much of that, it's not going to look right. But I'm going to tuck this in a little further when I get done here. There you go. See how nice that starts to look? That's looking good. All right. All right, see, and that's how you have that little part that's dug out there because you took it on. Oh, perfect, Linda. You'll love that. You'll love those wheels. They'll keep these things nice and sharp. And you really just have to put it on the buffer, or if it's really getting dull, you can put it on the leather wheel. All right. So that's how, and I'm going to do a better job doing that because you can see how thin I have that at the top. But I'll do that when I'm offline a little bit. All right, so let's keep going here a little bit more. We're almost done with it. Not too far. I think we'll finish it up tonight. I'm not going to bother with coming back on Thursday. That means I'll have to redo it twice, but I don't really want to do that. Or do two separate, put two films together for YouTube. All right. Let me just take this out a little bit. Yeah, let's just take that out. There we go. All right. I'm going to go up a little further. There we go. This just helps it a little bit. Give it a little more depth to it. There we go. Yeah. All right. Now, Hello, Mark. We're doing the giraffe for Noah's Ark. Arleen Zomer's version of Noah's Ark. I did one before, so we're going to take all. You're going to have to take all this rough stuff off before you paint. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of a hip back here, so we're just going to go down like so, and once like so. All right, and there we go. That's the back side. And we're going to bring this down a little bit. Good. Now, how do I finish off the feet? I'll show you that in a second here. I'm not going to do the other ear. You can do the other ear offline. Yes, Linda, they're sent by mail. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is, you're going to finish off taking care of these little knobby things up here. Whatever you want to call them, it's fine. But I usually take the rough stuff off the top, and I round them off a little bit, like I did here. I round them off a little bit. These are a little wider than that one, but that's fine. And then what you want to do here is put his little snout in there. So we're going to just take this and we're going to go right up like so. Alright, just like that. And we're going to take the V tool again, and we're going to follow that line right down to one side, to the other side. You notice I do a little bit of a curvature, and then we're going to kind of blend it in a little bit, just like so. Now, I use my dock ears that are really, really small for the nose, but you don't really need it if you have one of the small gouges. So what you can do is just use, you can mark where you want to put the little snout, where his nose is. You just take your, and you could just make two little things there. And what I do sometimes is I just use the edge of the V-tool. Let me see if I can find that. Well, not that one. I'm sorry. I took another one here. This little one, and I just use the edge, and I just turn it. I don't put the whole thing in, I just turn it. And that usually gives me a nice little hole. Alright, so I'm just using the edge of my little gouge here. And you just turn your little, okay, just like so, okay? And just take your time. I did it really quickly. And then I use a little V-tool to put the little mouth on the bottom. So, alright, like so. Alright, and then I go right across, up to the other side. There you go. Alright, he's a smiley guy. So, anyway. I'm going to clean this up a little bit here. And we're going to put the eyes in. I'll show you how to put the eyes in. And I'll show you how to finish off the feet. And then he's done. I didn't think we got him done that as quickly. Whoops. I lost you guys here. Hang on. Alright. Let's see if I don't do that again. Alright, so how do I do the eyes? Well, the eyes are really simple. I just do two very long diagonal lines. This pencil's not the greatest, but I do that first. All right. And then I take my knife and I go straight across. And the beauty of this is you're going to take the cutout first. And if it's not even, you can even it out before you put those eyes in. All right, so there's one. All right, there's one brow. Okay, I know. There we go. And here's the other one. Let's see what we can come up with here. If it doesn't come out, don't pull it out. You know, let the knife do the work. There we go. See how far off I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this one up a little further, and we're going to just keep doing it until they look even. And then I draw the eyes in. But I also take this down a little bit. All right, on either side. All right. Now, the other fun part is drawing the eyes on. So the eyes are kind of big, so what I do is I usually bring them down and I loop it. Just like so. I like a nice big eye, but like I said, it's always hard to get the same size eye on either side. Okay? That's how I do it. I have a loopy. Now, I'll probably go on the outside of that because I want that to be a little bigger. I like the big eyes on them. So, take that off a little bit. V-tool comes in again. And what I do is I just go on, I do a very, see how, the nice thing with this V-tool is you can do very mild cuts with it, very thin cuts. See? Very, very thin. You just don't put it in as deep. That's all. Hello, Justin. So I just take it and I go right around like that. And I go up to the brow. I turn it around and I go the other way. And I just kind of move my carving. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now, here's the little bit of a trick to it. You're going to have to recut that. So I cut away. I don't cut deep. I cut away from the eye. Just like so. All right? Then I cut it. And I come up and I cut it out. Now up here, where they meet, I do a little triangular cut and I try to round that eye out a little bit. Let me see if I can do it from here. I can't see it so well up there. Hang on. You didn't lose a feed. I'm just doing it back here. Let me water it for a minute. And that usually helps me. So I'm going to just do the outside first. There we go. And then the outside's not completely flat, but it has a little bit of a bevel to it. Alright, and you just kind of round that eye off a little bit. And that's how you get the eye in there. Alright, so it's not difficult to do these eyes, it's just difficult to get them about the same. That's the hard part. That's the hard part for me, is getting everything even. And, you know, it's never the same when you carve. It's always different a little bit. Let me water the other side or spray the other side. Alright. I'm going to do that little triangular cut at the top. It makes it look a little rounder. And we're just going to take that out. And then we'll round up the eye. Usually I do the eye from the inside first, but I found it's easier for these to do it this way if you want them a little bit bigger than normal. Oh, I'm going to go with it. There we go. And there's your two eyes. And when you paint them up, you have it looking one direction or another. I'm going to do this other ear here for a second. I'm going to dig in. Alright. See if I can use a little wider one this time. There we go. But you want to be careful. Just like what I did right there. See that? I pulled that off. That's not good. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit and repair that. Just a little bit. Yeah. Alright. You can always repair something, folks. It's never the end of something, you know. But anyway, you get the idea for the ear. I'll take my time when I get offline to do that. Let me finish up the feet here. This has a little V, like they have little hoofs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring this down more. We're going to round this off. Alright, take all this off here. And let's see here. Again, you want to take all the rough stuff off before you paint. If you don't, it's going to look kind of weird. Alright, so right here in the front, what you want to do is you want to take your V-tool. Again, we're using that a lot today. But you can do this with a knife too if you don't have a V-tool. That's not a V-tool. This is a V-tool. There we go. And we'll just bring that all the way down. We're going to round that off a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to take the V-tool to make little hoofs in the front here. Just one little gouge. One like so, and one like so. All right. Now, here, I just take my V-tool and I kind of chop part of it out. Just like so. Take my knife and clean it up. And we want to continue to bring this down a little bit more. Round off the bottom part. Hello, Rich. But that's pretty well it. Now, a lot of this is just going back over it and trimming it down a little bit more in the neck area if you want. One thing I will do is the ears need to come down a little bit. So we're going to bring this down a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to just cut it in the back and we're just going to trim this down a little bit more. Okay, just like so. That looks good. Alright, it doesn't look as thick. But with caricatures, you can do it any which way you want. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. Whatever you want to do. You want to give them big fat ears, you can give them big fat ears. That's up to you. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm cutting the ear off a little more. Alright, so I'm going to just chop this off. Alright, just like so. Then you can round it off a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to fuss with the head a little bit more. I'm going to be fussing with it a lot more when I get off because I can see it better when I have it closer to my face here. But that's the ears, and that's how you can. Now, if you want to dig that out a little more, you can with your little tool here. You can just kind of go from each side and just, see, just a little bit like that, and it will make it much more deeper. All right, and he looks kind of weird if he's not painted, but this is the way he looks, and if you take all the rough stuff off, you'll be fine. I need to take my time and do that. We don't need to come back on Thursday, but now I'll have two for my little Noah's Ark. All right, folks, we've been on about an hour and 15 minutes. That's not too bad. But take your time in making these, and you just go ahead and enjoy. All right, and again, the tools will have different handles, but the blades are going to be exactly the same. And the same thing with the Murphy knife. Sometimes you'll get a brown knife or a white knife. I think I have a brown knife on the store right now, but we'll keep going, and I'll show you what we're doing for next week. This will be part of the series. This is the little owl. So we're going to do a little owl next week. And this will be out of the size of 2 1/4 by 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Okay, so this will be part of this series. We're gonna spend a few weeks doing different animals and things like that. All right, folks, thank you very much, and we will see you next week. God bless you all. Take care.